We tend to think of success as this destination, right? A mountain we have to conquer. But what if the whole point isn't even to reach the summit, but just to keep on climbing? What if the only way to actually fail is to decide to stop? That's what we're going to get into today, the mindset that changes absolutely everything.
This quote, man, it just gets right to the heart of the matter. We all say we want that hockey stick growth, right? To just take off. But we think of the struggle as some kind of unfortunate side effect we have to put up with. This idea, it flips that script completely. The pain, the difficulty, the struggle, that isn't a side effect of growth. That is the growth. They're literally the same thing.
So that begs the question, right? If our natural instinct is to run away from pain, why is it the one thing we absolutely have to run towards to get what we want? Let's unpack what this price of growth actually feels like. Okay, so to really get this, we have to talk about the feeling. We need to be honest about the emotional price tag that comes with building anything that matters, because it's not some abstract concept, it's super personal. See, growth isn't about just adding a new skill, like downloading an app. It's about closing a gap. It's that really uncomfortable stretch between where you are right now and where you know you need to be. It forces you to look right at a deficiency, a gap in your skills, your knowledge, or even your character. And that deficiency, it has a very, very specific feeling. It's that feeling of having no earthly idea what you're doing. It's staring at a problem and realizing, wow, I am not equipped for this. But here's the thing, that's not a sign you're on the wrong path. That feeling is the sign you're on the right one. And of course, none of this happens in a vacuum. You're doing all this in a world full of other people who look like they have it all figured out. And the comparison thing is just brutal. You see someone else winning, and the pain comes from that little story you tell yourself. Not just, hey, good for them, but I'm failing because they're succeeding. It's such a painful trap to fall into. So here's the bottom line. The price of growth is a straight-up punch to the ego. It's this constant, humbling acceptance that, for the thing you want next, you're just not good enough right now. Now, that little word at the end is everything, yet. But you have to be willing to sit in that not good enough feeling first. Okay, so we've been sitting with that difficult, kinda awful feeling. Now I want you to zoom way, way out with me. That pain feels so all-consuming because we think we're playing to win. But what if the pain is just a symptom of us completely misunderstanding the game we're in? And this is the core idea, an infinite game. In business, in your career, in life, really, there is no finish line. Nobody blows a whistle and hands you a trophy and says, "Congrats, you've won business forever." The only real objective is to stay in the game long enough to be able to play again tomorrow. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On the one hand, you've got finite games like, say, football. You know the players, the rules are fixed, and at the end there's a winner and a loser. Clear cut. But then you look at an infinite game, like business. Players are coming and going all the time, the rules of the market are constantly changing, and the only goal is to just keep the whole thing going. I mean, think about it. Who was the biggest name in shipping 500 years ago? Who's going to be the top AI founder 100 years from now? We have no idea, and you know what? It doesn't really matter. The players always get swapped out. The game is the only thing that lasts. And once you really get that, it kind of takes the pressure off of winning and puts all the focus on just enduring. So, if the goal is just to keep playing, how do you actually do it? Well, this brings us to this really brilliant metaphor that helps us understand how to play this infinite game.
Okay, so imagine this. You and a friend are playing a game. You each get a die with a whole bunch of sides. One side is green, and all the others are red. Here's the catch. You have no idea how many sides your die has. Now, the rules are simple. If you roll green, congrats. Another red side on your die turns green, making your odds better next time. If you roll red, well, nothing happens. You just pick it up and roll again. The goal? There's only one. Just keep rolling. The game's only over when you decide to stop.
And this right here is the whole point. This is the big reveal. It doesn't matter if your friend started with a 20-sided die and you got stuck with a 200-sided one. It doesn't matter if they got lucky on their first few rolls. If you just keep rolling, eventually, mathematically, your die will also become mostly green. Your persistence eventually makes your starting conditions irrelevant.
And this is where the two mindsets become crystal clear. One person sees their friend roll a green and immediately starts complaining that the game is unfair. They get obsessed with comparing, they get frustrated, they spend more time watching than playing, and eventually they quit. The other person? They just pick up the die and roll again, and again, and again.
So this brings us to the ultimate takeaway. This whole thing isn't really about dice, is it? It's about the one real choice we all have when we're faced with the pain and total uncertainty of growth.
And that's what it all boils down to. When you stop thinking about winning and losing, the whole picture becomes so much simpler. There are just people who are still in the game and people who have taken themselves out of it. The only possible way to lose is to stop rolling the dice. So really, there are only two guarantees in this whole game. That's it. Number one, the more times you roll, the more you play, the better your odds get. It's just a law of volume. And number two is just as certain. The second you decide to quit, your chance of success drops to absolute zero. And that's why we had to start with the pain. Because keep rolling sounds simple, but it's not a mindless action. It requires a tremendous amount of mental toughness. It's the resilience to see red and another red and not just give up. It's having the fortitude to feel like an idiot and still pick up that die for one more try. So, we end right back where we started. You're in the game. Right now, you've had some wins, you've had some losses, you're looking at your die, and you have absolutely no idea how many red sides are left before you finally hit that next green streak. So the question is, really simple. Are you going to put the die down, or are you going to roll again?